For one, it's time. 45 days to 21 days gives you plenty of time to be right if the move goes against you. So that's what I like about it. I used to trade 7 days to expiration. If the move went against me, I would roll it out to the next week. And then what would end up happening to me is I'd get a sign because I'm so close to expiration. It's a profitable strategy. You can look at my earlier videos and see how the trades worked for me. I was in the red sometimes, but ultimately I was able to roll enough premium and then come out when the stock went up above my position. But I decided to do 45 days after I watched this market measure, which we'll look at here in just a minute. You can have a smoother P&L. That doesn't mean that you're never going to be red. It means that you're not going to be as red and green all the time. Depending on what you're trading, you'll have less assignment risk. What happened to me many times was when the stock went against my position with 7 days, I would get assigned. And it was before I could make a move. So then I owned the stock whenever I was planning on rolling the position later in time. So being out 45 days gives you some of that protection where you're not going to get assigned as frequently. I want to be as mechanical as I can. So doing it at 45 days with a goal of hitting a 50% closing order. And if it doesn't work out, rolling it, closing the position at 21 days is very mechanical. It's very easy, methodical. And there's not a whole lot of emotions involved in it. And I think that's part of the playing game with options is being mechanical, whatever way works for you. And I want to rely on the data. If I can pull data from a think tank like TastyTrade and they show what works and what doesn't, I want to mimic that as much as I can because that helps my learning curve. I'm a new options trader and my goal is to get a 50% return by the end of this year. I want to be able to drop that learning curve as soon as I can. And learning from someone else and relying on backtested data so you don't have to figure it out yourself is always a good option in my opinion. So the market measure is called Is 21 Days to Expiration Magic? And the title is Why I Would Ditch Zero DTEs for Managing at 21 Days to Expiration. I'll leave a link to this video in the description so you can check it out yourself if you want. So like we see here at TastyTrade, it says we strive to have mechanical trading practices. And early management can help limit our exposure to large losses, but you can't expect to make any money if you take trades off immediately, giving yourself time to be right. This is their most frequent mechanic. They say 45 days to expiration and managing at 21 days to expiration. And they want to ask the question, why? So they took 15 years of option data in SPY, IWM, and the QQQ with the 20 delta strangle at 45 days to expiration. And I started doing 20 delta strangles because a lot of the studies are based on the 20 delta strangles here. So I decided, well, if the studies are based on that and I can get information from it, that's the best way I can find out what works and what doesn't. So they considered all the possible fixed duration management mechanics from taking trades off through leaving them on until expiration. We see on the left here the average P&L against how long you had the trade on. And if you managed it each day. So the zero here is the 45 days to expiration. That's the day that you made the trade. So you see your P&L, it stays pretty steady here. So you can see at around day 24, which would be the 21 days to expiration, this is where you want to manage. This is before you start seeing the whipsaw effect in your P&L. So at 45 days, which is the expiration date here, you can see just how much this P&L has moved, and it's moved drastically. So you definitely want to manage by 21 days based on this data if you're trading SPY and doing a 20 delta strangle, because on average, you're going to make money. This is based on 15 years of option data in the SPY, doing a 20 delta strangle at 45 days to expiration. So what do I want to do here? I want to trade a 20 delta strangle from 45 days to expiration to 21 days to expiration. Now you might say that a later date is better or doing it earlier is better, you know, maybe doing a 30 days to expiration or anywhere between there. Hey, that's fine too. I've done 30 days as well. The key here is that after 21 days, which is 24 here on this graph, because you'd be holding on to the trade for 24 days, that would be 21 days to expiration. This is where you want to be. You don't want to be holding on beyond 21 days because you start seeing a lot of P&L swings here. The other thing, we see the CVAR, which is the worst 5% of outcomes on your trade. So we're doing a 20 delta strangle, 45 days to expiration, 15 years of data on the SPY. What do we see here? We see the CVAR go up and up and up and it settles here at 20 days, but it also goes down all the way up to 24. So you can see it settles here at 21 before it rips back up. So again, if you're in here past the 24, you're past 21 days to expiration, and you're seeing the CVAR go up. So your risk goes up a lot more after 21 days to expiration based on the 15 years of data on the SPY. So this graph, whenever I finally understood it, was really eye-opening to me because it showed me that you really want to get out by 21 days. You don't want to be in it throughout the 21 days. So as a trader who was trading 7 days to expiration stocks, I decided to go back and do the 45 days to expiration, or around that time, right? It doesn't have to be exact. It's once you get past 21 days to expiration or 24 days into your trade, you start realizing these big swings. This is the same graph. It's the IWM. We see the same thing, right? We see smooth. There is some up and down here, right? But it's not as drastic as the other side. Plus, you get a big shot up after 20. Once you hit 21 days, you're going to see that profit. If you're not seeing that profit by 21 days, you need to manage, and that would be 24 on this graph. So, if you looked at this graph, what would be the best day for you to manage? Well, when your P&L is the highest, and whenever you see that your P&L is peaked, that's around 21 days at the 24. Same thing with the CVAR. The CVAR goes up over time. We see at the 24 mark, that's when we kind of plateau here. So if you're not seeing a 50% profit here by this time, you probably need to get out because your risk continues to go up over time. Same thing with the Qs, QQQ. We see it's pretty sporadic. I don't really trade QQQs anyways, but you can see the P&L is pretty wild here. It doesn't matter when you trade it, really. This tells me that the 20 Delta Strangle is probably not a good move for the QQQs. You probably want to do a different strategy other than a 20 Delta Strangle on the QQQs. The risk, though, you can see goes up over time, the same as the other assets there, the IWM and the SPY. So looking at these graphs, it really opened up my eyes to why I need to be trading 45 days to 21 days. And it's not that that's just the best way to do it, but it's based on historical data. So basically, as a new options trader, I can take the information that's available to me and use it as a back test and apply it. So I started doing strangles on the micro E-mini S&P 500 futures, and so far it's working pretty well. So I'm going to continue doing that, and I'm also doing strangles on futures. The prices seem to be pretty steady right now, but so that's kind of what I'm working on, and that's why I do 45 days or around 45 days to expiration, because I can base it on historical data. I can take the market measures and apply them to my trading to try to reduce my learning curve as much as possible so I can start making money to get a 50% return. So there's many different ways to make money with options, many different strategies, choosing days to expiration. But the reason why I'm doing 45 days, 21 days management with a 50% profit target is because I can take it and copy it from back-tested strategies, base it on data, and be as mechanical as possible, knowing that this is based on historical information. And I'm not blindly looking for what's working and what's not. I have the confidence based on the studies that I find from TastyTrade. The best thing that you can do is find what works for you and sharpen that strategy as well as you can. And it doesn't hurt to explore, right? I'm doing strangles, put spreads. I'm doing a 30-20-10 strategy, which is dealing with the S&P 500 and doing a small trade every day into a ladder. I think that's what you have to do no matter what you're trading, is to explore, put a little bit of risk out there, do small size, and also getting a mentor. Having someone that already has this learning curve figured out, already has a strategy that works, learn from them, adapt your strategy likewise. That's what I like about TastyTrade, is because they're interested in the small trader like me, and they're basing what they have on data and sharing it with the world. So if this video was a help to you, hit the like button. My goal is to get a 50% return by the end of this year. If you want to join me on that journey and learn from me, just the different things that I learn along the way, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.